Very kind. Hi, you guys. I'm Moriah. This one's Courtney, not the other way around.
Yeah. Sometimes it's Coco and Momo.
That's true.
If you're feeling up to that, I know it's been a long day, you can throw that out. We'll answer.
So, questions. I see that lovely hand. Yes.
First of all, you guys are hilarious. You should start your own group.
Stop.
Maybe
Stop.
like for Queen and City.
For Queen and City. That's good. That's clever.
But what are the struggles of being on the other half of your husband's traveling so much, but also what are the joys of that?
Wow. What's your name?
Carrie.
Carrie, beautiful question. Well, I think the first thing that comes to mind is actually the fact that we travel with them a lot. And at all times, one of my godsons or goddaughter, Courtney's kids, they're out on the road. Courtney comes, I go out. So my husband and I have a 2-week rule. We don't go longer than 2 weeks without seeing each other. Over the years, that length has gotten smaller and smaller. But when we first met, we were long distance and both touring. And so I think it's like anything else. It's a muscle that takes practice and strategy and conversation and intentionality. And so I think the biggest challenge is just lining up the calendars. But we will cross oceans, and we will take trains and planes and Ubers and do whatever we need to be together. How about you, Coco?
Yeah. I love that question because it's the highs and the lows. I think the high is getting to do that together. I mean, obviously we haven't done things normal, you know, whether it's when we were touring in vans or RVs or tour buses and taking little kids into all these random places. But it's so worth it because what are your priorities? You just build your life around it. And there's joy there. We've had great adventures, so many memories, so many beautiful people. Like you get to, I would say a joy is meeting people from all over the world and seeing actually kind of how the United States is. Like the Midwest has a vibe, okay? Florida has a vibe. You're gonna have a good show in Florida. It's true and you know it. So that's kind of fun to see kind of how that is. I would say some of the hard things has been, you know, I have 4 young kids and, you know, sometimes it's like, awesome, and you know, God graces you for these things, but then sometimes you get COVID for the 4th time and a stomach bug comes. That's real life. So sometimes it's just hard and you're like, okay, Lord, you're gonna provide, and he does in different ways. It could be a grandparent, could be a friend calling you, it could be you know, those moments. So it's not easy, but it's really good. So
And can I just brag on this woman too, speaking of challenges, like a lot of people weren't really around and we didn't get to see a lot of you guys in the early stages of building for King and Country. But when we were in vans and trailers, Courtney, even before Joel and I were married, when we were just dating, Courtney was pregnant and sleeping in the back of vans across the country, and then she would show up to a venue, help set up merch, and then run lighting for their shows. So it really is built from the ground up by, like you said, making decisions to be intentional with your time and prioritize. Purple suit, what's your name?
Herb.
Herb?
Yes.
Herb! I love that. Hi, Herb.
Thank you. Hi. Can you guys talk some about the Unsung Hero movie that's coming out?
Yes, of course. So Unsung Hero is a movie that the 4 of us have really poured into. My husband co-directed and acted in it. I co-produced it. And Luke and Courtney have been arm in arm the entire way from the beginning to the end. And the beginning really was coming up with the script at the beginning of last year. And we're really just telling the story of our immigrant family. I mean, we even though we married into this family, we consider ourselves to truly be a unit. And so we're telling the story of Helen and David, or for us, Mom and Dad, packing 12 suitcases, packing up 6 kids with a 7th on the way, and moving from Australia to America with nothing but hope in their pockets. And the thing that really excites me about this story is, yes, it's celebrating women, and it's celebrating the sacrifice and the leadership and the backbone of a family being a mother. But you know, I'm not a mother. I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a wife, and I get to cheer on the mothers that have made a way. And I love that it's telling the story of an immigrant family. You know, so that can be a very like politically divisive and sometimes not so palatable topic, but I think this film does it in a way that kind of skips all that and goes through the back door of the imagination and just hits you straight in the heart. So I'm excited for you guys to see it. Thanks, Herb.
SammyCone.com. Guys, I have a story about Sammy. Sammy has known me since I was a teenager in South Florida. Let that just settle and blow your mind.
Do you want me to get on the mic?
What do you want to talk about, SammyCone.com? Tell me.
I want to talk about your beautiful voices. And are we going to get to hear anything with you and your husbands again, Sam? The four of you.
See, this is the problem. Sammy asked us a question like this on the red carpet, and I said, if me and Courtney get on a mic, it's going to be all kinds of ratchet. You're not going to be able to play that on K-Love. It's not appropriate for the little ears, as they say. So yeah, I don't know about me and Courtney doing a duo, but you know, we're always down to support the guys. I do love singing with them. I mean, Pioneers is a beautiful, beautiful moment, and we don't really sing very much together. I don't know about you, but like in real life, like at home, it's very quiet for me and Joel. We have no children, and so we have no art on the walls. We have a white couch. It's as ridiculous as you can imagine, and it's just peaceful. We don't sing. When we do sing, it's always a joke. It's like, and you look so good, you are my boom boom. You know, we make it real nasally, and like, yeah, this is what we do.
I can attest that is true. So true. You had your hand up back there? So, funniest or most touching memory with them? Oh, I have one. Okay, so it was during the film they did a long time ago called Priceless, and it was released in Puerto Rico. And the movie wasn't working yet, and so Luke had to go up and talk to everyone and just come up with stuff. So he was pretty much like a comedian is what he thought. He was like, oh, they just love me here. They're laughing at everything I'm saying. And I was like, babe, it's really not that funny. I think they just feel awkward because they're waiting for the movie. But he was like, no, they love me in Puerto Rico. And it was just hilarious. And I couldn't stop laughing. I was crying laughing because he really was like, this is hilarious. This is great. And I just will never forget it. It was one of those trips you like fly in and you fly out, and within 24 hours, you're just, you know, dazed and confused, and then the movie's not working, and Luke's telling jokes in Puerto Rico, and everyone's laughing. So that's a memory.
And we say that now. Luke's funny, but only in Puerto Rico. A memory came to mind. And what's your name? Tracy, Miss Tracy. Thank you for your question. One of my favorite memories, and again, this is not something you guys are going to find online. You'll never see pictures of this, but one of my favorite memories is when the band was first starting, and the boys were playing a show at a venue here in Nashville called Third and Lindsley. And we needed to try to get as many friends and family and people there as possible. Nobody knew about them. No one was really, fighting to get tickets. And so we decided that we would go to a youth group that used to meet at Brentwood Baptist called Kairos. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. It was where all the cool kids, he knows, cool kids, he knows. And we had a bunch of flyers that we made to promote the show, and we were just going to put them on all the cars, the four of us. The only issue was that it started raining, and we had that one night, so we went and bought Ziploc baggies. And the commitment from the beginning is what really is, I'm very proud of. We bagged all of these flyers, y'all, and this is like 500 flyers. This is no joke. We're just like calluses, and we're putting these on all of the windshields. Since then, Kairos did create a ban on promoting things with people's cars, so I'm sorry, Kairos, Brentwood Baptist, but that's a beautiful memory.
was just going to ask how your guys' love story. We all love to hear a love story. So just a summary of both of your guys'. So sweet.
And what's your name?
Cassandra.
Cassandra?
Yes.
Cassandra? That's a beautiful name. Oh my goodness. Wow. Cassandra. I think the gist of it is that Joel and I were set up by a mutual friend who was invited to Luke and Courtney's wedding in Franklin, Tennessee, June 26, 2010. And she felt like God told her that she was supposed to introduce me to Joel. So she told her husband, honey, you stay home. This girl, Moriah, is going to be my plus one. She's going to be a wedding crasher because I have to introduce her to Joel, who was in the wedding. And I went knowing absolutely nobody. Courtney was so kind, the kindest bride. And I had to wait in line to meet Joel. And I was like, this is not Disneyland. He is not Aladdin. Why am I standing in line? And by the time I got to him, I was very irritated and very rude. But we wrote a song together over the course of a week, and that's how our creative collaboration started. That's how we fell in love. And we celebrate our 10-year wedding anniversary this July.
She was the best wedding crasher ever. I saw the whole thing. She was wearing lavender, like I was really watching, okay? Because Joel was very sad, and I was like, you need to find love, buddy. You can't always be with us. It was true. So the first time I met Luke, I actually was living in South Florida, and my sister was working at a church here, and I came up and I was helping her set up for a Christmas service. And so I was setting up the stage with poinsettias, and Luke was setting up the lighting at the church. He used to do that all the time. And so we were just both working in that auditorium silently, and then my sister was like, oh my goodness, Courtney, you need to meet this guy. He comes with a great family. And you know, I was in an Alanis Morissette phase. I don't need no man. I don't know, you know. Anyway, if you don't know who that is, I'm sure you do. You do. You do. Good, I'm glad. So anyway, he remembers me as a girl who didn't talk to him because my sister really wanted us to work out. Obviously, we did. So that was how we met. And yeah, it was just so sweet. I was like, you know, okay, you know, people who, you know, they were trying to be in music, right? This is Nashville. And I had a judgment against, like, I am not going to date anyone in music. I am not going to do it because they're all full of themselves. And then Luke comes along and he has the sweetest, most golden heart. And then I literally apologized to him. I said, I'm sorry. I've been rude to you. I kind of put you in a box of like this, and you're just not that. So still has that same heart today. So that's just a little titty bit.
Sweet. That's very sweet. Thank you guys so much.